How's it going, y'all? Rowdy Riles back with another video. So I went to a toy store opening. I was invited by a friend of mine, OZSTRADMUS TOYZ, which was very nice of him to do. And we went to the new Eternia Dreams opening, and there was lots of cool stuff. I wasn't planning on getting anything. I just wanted to see what was up, record, show y'all what it looks like. And when we were leaving, OZSTRADMUS was like, "You're getting this." And I have no experience with this line. I have a couple of like their spin-off line, which is called Cosmic Legions, but I got my first Mythic Legions, and I think her name is Belualith. And yeah, she's already out of the box. Obviously, you know how I am. I get my toys out and play with them, so the video out of order sometimes when I film it. But regardless, she's a cool figure. There are some issues with the Legion stuff in general. Both of my Cosmic Legions have loose ankles. She has loose ankles, but that's really the only problem I've had. But it seems to be something that they need to work on, at least with their older figures. So just pointing that out before we get into it. But with all of that being said, let's get into the video. So yeah, OZSTRADMUS TOYZ, shout out, go check out his channel, is a very kind soul. So kind, in fact, that he wanted to get me addicted to Mythic Legions. So we were walking around this toy store and looking around, and we talked about Mythic Legions. We did our loops, we came back together and met up when he was ready to check out. And he said, "I'm getting this, and this you're getting this." And I'm like, "Huh?" And he showed me this figure, and I was like, "Oz, seriously, you don't have to do that." And he says, "I know, but I'm going to anyway." So thank you, Oz. You really didn't have to, but I'm sure this is not my first Mythic Legions. You knew what you were doing there, buddy. I know you did, but that's okay. I forgive you because she looks awesome. So on the front, it just says Mythic Legions, but there's a lot of stuff in this box. So I'm excited to get her out. There is some really awesome artwork that I will have to show y'all once I take her out on the inside. But on the back there is some as well. You know, this artwork really reminds me of Magic the Gathering. Like, I love Magic. And if I wanted Magic the Gathering figures, you could pretty much make them with Mythic Legions. Like, you can make some Planeswalkers, whatever. You look at the art from the card and you find the pieces and you make it. It shows the other characters in the wave at the top left. And then we do get a blurb over here. It's a very long one, so I'm going to have to read it. "Once there was an age so far distant that only its stories remain. These are the stories of Mythos, a peaceful kingdom populated by great beasts who walked side by side with women and men in a harmonious land, brimming with joy and prosperity. But these stories also tell of vast and terrible evil, armies sent to destroy the kingdoms of Mythos and all who called them home. These stories immortalized the names of Leodyssus, Basilia, Xylona, and Phaethron, the brave beasts who stood up and fought the dark forces threatening their beloved land of Mythos. Their bravery saved Mythos, but sadly, after their stories ended, their land would remain forever stained by a darkness that will never be forgotten." Now, a new story is being written. As memories of the ancient ages have faded out of time, so have those of the great beasts that once walked the earth. In their wake, 4 massive legions, each dedicated to the memory of one of the brave defenders of yesteryear, have assembled over the centuries. These legions have relegated evil to living in the darkest corners, far away from the noble kingdoms of Mythos. But now an uneasiness strips and casts a dark shadow over the land, fueling whispers of the return of the ancient evils, Poxus, Alithia, Arither, and Necrodamus. The evil masses have mobilized their own armies dedicated to ushering in their dark master's return. The stage is now set for the greatest story of all. Good and evil clash in an epic battle to determine the destiny of Mythos, the story of Mythic Legions. So now I know a little bit more about Mythic Legions. The only thing on the side is at the bottom, and it shows, I guess, an evil symbol right here, so we know she's bad. And her name is Belualith? How do I say that? I don't know. But yeah, there's a shot of the face, and then we've got another blurb. Let's get this apparently very, very bad girl open. Here's that artwork from inside of the box. Like I said, it's totally awesome looking. There's a glare from the light, but yeah, you've got some skulls, some dragons, some demons, with wonderful, gorgeous colors. So even the box itself is a piece of art. Alright, so here is my first Mythic Legions figure out of the box. I do have a couple of Cosmic Legions And I want to note that they all have the same problem, which is loose ankles. My 2 cosmic legions have loose ankles. She has loose ankles. Obviously she can stand, so it's not that big of a problem. Also, her name is Belulith. I don't know how to pronounce it. But as you can see, there's a lot of sculpted detail and paint details on this. Also, she's got her chimera, her skeleton chimera. But she's a lich, so she's got, I like the no-nose head sculpt. It's very nicely painted. She's got nice hair that's softer, wearing lots of armor. That bone pauldron, you can remove that. I had to put that on. You can see she's got some silver chest armor under there that continues down to her right arm. She's got more bones and stuff on her belt, coming down to her metal skirt. We've also got a wired skirt underneath there with some more armor down on her legs, all sculpted beautifully. And her chimera, of course, has 2 heads, a nice wash. He's actually got a head on his tail as well. So there's a lot of detail in these figures, like a whole lot. She's got a whip because she's a beast tamer, even though I don't know if you're a skeleton, if you can feel a whip. I don't know if you got nerve endings to feel that, but regardless, she is a very cool looking figure, and she's a bad guy, and sometimes it feels good to be bad, right? So I really like the way she looks. I'm pretty sure I'll grab a couple more Mythic Legions at some point. It's just going to be a matter of which ones and when am I going to get them, because I'm definitely going back to where OZSTRADMUS, thank you to him for buying this for me, picked this up. It was a really cool store. You can check out the video. It's up on my channel. There's just so much cool stuff, and I wasn't planning on getting anything, and I still left with something because OZSTRADMUS is a very kind dude. So really, really cool figure, lots of cool accessories, and the sculpting and detail and paint is all fantastic. So if you don't have a Mythic Legions, I would say get at least one so you can see what it's about. And all these parts are swappable. You can take her arms and legs off and swap them with other ones. So like I have some Cosmic Legions. I could make a Space Necromancer if I really wanted to, if I really took the time and effort. I may try to do that at some point, because what's the fun of pop and swap if you don't do it? But she's a cool figure, and I really like her. Checking out her height, she's not very tall, but I'm assuming she's at least, she's about 6.5 inches, so she's not short either. Taller than I thought she was, honestly. Y'all know I'm terrible with the tape measure, right? I'm sure you see these videos and you're like, what the well, that's gonna be censored. What is she talking about? Going over the articulation, I did take her accessories off so that would be more accessible for us to get that articulation. So head goes forward, not very much, back a lot farther. The neck is on a separate piece, but there's no like articulation to it. It's just got a swivel. So shoulders 90 degrees, single elbow comes in about 90 degrees. Torso, there is an upper ball peg, but that's about as far forward and about as far back as she'll go. We get a waist swivel, which doesn't have too much articulation on there, which is understandable. Legs come forward. Of course, this is wired, so you can get that out of the way really if you want to for some motion. Single joint at the knee, so no butt kicking action. I don't think, no, there's no thigh cut, but we do get a little bit of rotation on that thigh at the peg. And then there is rockers, and there's actually a boot cut down here. So there is a boot cut, it's just at the ankle, so an ankle cut. Rockers side to side, and then of course her hands are on pins. So not the greatest articulation, but Four Horsemen is all about sculpt over articulation, so I think that's all right. And then we do have accessories. I took them off of her so I could show y'all how they port and plug in and stuff. So first of all, we're going to start with additional stuff. So take her head off. Take her head off. That's how the pauldron goes on. It goes across her chest, I'm assuming, because that seems to be what works. Then we get this little bone piece, which, there you go, it's a bone. that plugs into her back, kind of like, I don't know, like back bling from Fortnite. So that plugs in there. Also kind of will hold that pauldron in place a little bit. You go ahead and put her head back on. Just pops in like that. So they're, like I said, they're customizable. A lot of these parts are interchangeable with other Mythic Legions characters. She has a lot of accessories, so excuse me, bear with me. We've got this Chimera, which is very cool. Oz told me that you could take this neck piece out and you could put it on a skeleton and have a two-headed skeleton, or put these on there. There's some articulation at the neck, so those are pretty cool. Tail is static, you can't bend it. Legs come forward, forward. These are actually on a ball joint, so they slightly come out and forward and back. And then we've got a chain for her to walk the Chimera. Of course, it's got a collar with some spikes and some metal on there. Very cool looking, very beautiful sculpt. I'm very impressed with this figure. Oz did not have to get it for me, but he did, and I appreciate it. So she's got her Chimera, and of course she can hold that leash to hold me back, bro, hold me back, you know. So we got that. For her weapon, she's got this kind of bone. It looks like a bone saw almost, made out of bone, but it's got a blade attached to the bone with some spikes on there. Very cool looking, very nicely painted and sculpted. Shiny, obviously. That just goes in her hand. We get this cage, and you can open up the cage, and on that cage is a bone snake. Of course, there's his little branch that he lays across. Bone snake. And then you just put the cage back on like so, and she can actually hold that as well. She's got her hand for holding that right there. So we got a bone snake. And then I haven't quite figured out which side this goes on and how you position it, but she also has a bird with a vambrace to protect her lich skin from getting torn off by the skeleton. So, you know, we've got some metal down there on the leather bracer, and then bird has a couple of feathers left. Probably a vulture, if we're being honest, given the aesthetic. No articulation on that, just a static piece, but very nice looking. Looks great, beautifully sculpted. We get another head sculpt, which I do like, but I like the lich one better. I like the no nose, but she looks cool. It's nice. It's a nice face, kind of pretty. And she also came with a separate hairpiece, and also you can swap the hair. I don't know the difference between the hairs, but they're not too different. But it doesn't look like that when it come out. There's a peg to swap the hair, so you can use either one on either head. So that looks nice. And then we get 4 extra hands. We get 2 that are for the right hand that have some leather gloves on, and then 2 other ones that are her blue skin tone, and there's 1 for each hand. So you can have her with a glove or with no glove. And that is Beluwelith. I don't know how to pronounce it. Like I said, that is her accessories. Let me get her all put back together for comparison and stuff. First of all, for scale and comparison, here she is with some Cosmic Legions. We have Killian Shun, and I forget her name. I forget it. I just saw her. They had her at the store, but they didn't have Killian. But they're all the same height, essentially. 2 of them have blue skin, so you can see I like that look. And yeah, there's differences, but they can all be pop and swap together, so you could like combine all 3 of these and make 1 figure if you wanted to, or combine all 3 and make 3 different figures than what they look like. So lots of options here. They do have different bodies. There's 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. I believe these are all 2.0. So they're all pretty interchangeable, and they all look pretty good together. Like, you could put these 3 in a display together and it'd work. That's probably how they're going to be, because they're all 4 horsemen. So here she is with Cap and Bucky Cap for some Marvel Legends. Shaggy and Dracula for some Jada Toys love. Here she is with Romanky Gun Girl and a boss fight skeleton. Here she is with Frazetta Conan and boss fight Red Sonja. Those work well together. They scale perfectly, in my opinion, so that looks really cool. And then lastly, for comparison, here she is with Deicide War Kratos and Loose Collector. Vampirella. So I think that about covers it. We got some good fantasy stuff in here too, so. So yeah, with all that being said, I would say my first Mythic Legion's totally worth it to me, especially because, also go check out OZSTRADMUS' channel. He does an awesome live stream with a bunch of people every Saturday. Not every Saturday, but most Saturdays. Go check out his channel. But yeah, he bought me this. I really appreciate it because she's a cool figure. So if you like this video, go ahead and smash like, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, become a channel member, comment, let me know if you have any Mythic Legions, if you have this figure, how your day is going. Just say hey. If you're protesting, be safe, keep your head up, stay brave, be kind to your local LGBTQ community, don't be a lich. And I love y'all. I will see you next time, and bye-bye. Ooh. Welcome to the gun show, everybody.
Just wait 1 minute. I'm watching this new Rowdy Rawls video and it's really awesome. I don't want to miss it.
It's like this chick that reviews action figures and it's really freaking cool.
Yes, I think they saw some videos and there's some really good content out there, you know?
She reviews these ponies and stuff because you knows I love ponies.
She doesn't review ponies. It's freaking cool stuff, Toki.